ChefSteps shared the greatest indoor barbecue brisket recipe I've ever seen. Tender meat, rendered fat, and even a smoke ring. All done in a home kitchen without a smoker. And I'm convinced the taste is incredible too, based on Barbecue Hall of Famer Meathead Goldwyn's reaction when he tried it.
This is absolutely one of the most extraordinary briskets I've ever tasted.
But one massive problem. All of the equipment needed to make this recipe cost me about $500. So before you spend your money, I'll try the recipe to let you know if I think it's worth your time and resources. So to start, I'm using a prime grade brisket, and I highly recommend prime because the cooking part of this recipe takes over 24 hours. Seriously. So the extra intramuscular fat from a prime grade brisket will keep it from drying out. Now I'm gonna trim this brisket like I always do, removing all of the excess fat and keeping the fat cap to about 1/4 of an inch thickness. But if you need a detailed tutorial, I'll have one linked in the description box that will show you how to trim a brisket in under 5 minutes. Now we come to the first hurdle of this recipe, which is the size of this brisket. So if you're from the States and outside of Texas, then just like me, you know the most convenient place to get a prime grade brisket is either Costco or Sam's Club. And at these warehouse stores, like 99% of the time, they only have these big monster briskets, like 18 to 22 pounds. Well, unfortunately, the majority of this recipe is cooked sous vide, and even though I bought the largest sous vide container I could find, there is no way the brisket is gonna fit as is. ChefSteps solved this problem by basically cutting the brisket right in half and cooking both parts separately, pinned to both sides of the sous vide container. But I'm gonna try something a little different. So measuring my sous vide container, the maximum length this thing can cook is 12 inches. So I just measured and cut 12 inches on my brisket to create a mini brisket and a brisket junior. And I'll cook them at the same time like ChefSteps did in their video. My thought is keeping the mini brisket as large as possible will help prevent it from drying out during this extremely long cook. But before we get cooking, we need to get this brisket in the brine. Exact ingredients in the description box, but to a large vessel I added water, smoked salt, brown sugar, and liquid smoke. From my understanding, the main purpose of this specific brine, besides allowing the salt and sugar to penetrate the meat, is to really infuse it with the smoke flavor from the liquid smoke. Liquid smoke concentrate is very potent, and this recipe uses an entire bottle of it just in the brining stage. So make sure if you're trying this recipe at home that you're using a smoke concentrate, like this one from Wright's. If you use a compound smoke seasoning like this one, the concentration is much weaker, so your end product is going to have much less smoke flavor, which may be a good or bad thing depending on your taste, but just know that there is a difference. Another thing the brine helps with is tenderizing the meat, because the salt breaks it down as the brisket is submerged in the solution, as indicated in ChefSteps' video. After they had finished the 24-hour brine, ChefSteps' brisket looks gray, which indicates that the proteins have already began to denature before the cook has even started. Okay, once the mixture is combined, we just chill the brisket in the brine for an entire week. Or if you don't have the time or fridge space like me, you can use this alternative method. Simply inject the brisket with a brine solution. And with this one simple step, we speed up the process considerably, needing to only brine the brisket for 1 to 2 days instead of a week. So if you do end up trying this recipe at home, it would be a good idea to have one of these syringes so you can do the same. One last optional step is that for the last 2 hours of the brine, incorporate 20 grams of curing salt into the brine. Now the curing salt is for presentation purposes only, because all it will do is add a pink ring on the inside of the meat, which mimics the smoke ring you would get from exposing meat to a real wood fire. I just grabbed a full bowl of the brine solution, mixed in the curing salt, and then added it back to the rest of the brine for the last 2 hours. Once done, take out the brisket and pat it dry so it's ready to add even more flavor with the glaze. So the glaze is comprised of molasses, liquid smoke, and soy sauce, and in regard to the last ingredient, I am specifically using mushroom soy sauce. So I learned about this stuff a while back from my buddy Johnny, aka Derby BBQ here on YouTube, and I like it because of its nice dark color, which will help getting a nice dark bark on this brisket. But an added benefit of this soy sauce is it has a very rich and deep umami flavor. But you can also use liquid aminos or whatever soy sauce you have at home. Once mixed, apply the glaze evenly to the brisket, but make sure to leave about half of the glaze left because we will be using it again later on in the recipe. When finished, vacuum seal it in a heavy duty bag, and then we're gonna sous vide it at 155 degrees Fahrenheit for 24 hours. Now, there are two things that are happening during this sous vide process. Number one is the effect that the vacuum seal has on the brisket. To demonstrate this critical effect, I have this sheet of saran wrap. Now see what happens when I put this on my face.
Notice how the wrap pulls my skin back and snatches my facial features and spreads them out.
Well, the same thing happens with the brisket in the vacuum sealed bag. The fibers of the meat are pulled apart, allowing for the glaze to penetrate the meat deeply and very quickly, resulting in the brisket getting saturated with sweet and smoky flavors from that glaze. The second thing to note is the collagen breakdown that will occur during this long cooking process. The collagen breakdown is the process in which the collagen in the brisket, which is very springy, turns into gelatin, which is jiggly and soft. The transformation of collagen into gelatin is the reason why great barbecue just melts in your mouth. And this process occurs at temperatures ranging from 140 degrees Fahrenheit all the way until the brisket is finished cooking, which actually is pretty soon now. Since the brisket was cooked at 155 degrees Fahrenheit for 24 hours, it was held in that collagen breakdown temperature zone for so long that my guess is that the collagen is already completely broken down in these briskets. Going into this recipe, I thought that the brisket at this point would basically be done and just needing a crust, but I can still feel how tight this brisket still is. It feels like it's in the latter stages of the stall. Also on this smaller piece right here, the brisket junior, you can see right here we have what Texicana Barbecue calls the curl, and this usually occurs when the proteins denature too quickly and they just bind together and the brisket starts curling, which is interesting because it usually happens when you cook too hot. But again, I cooked this sous vide at 155, so that is pretty interesting. But my biggest fear with this is because this brisket was cooking for 24 hours, it was just in the stall for so long. And because of that, I'm afraid that at the end of this cook, the brisket is going to be inevitably dry. But again, this recipe got really high accolades from Meathead Goldwyn, so I'm still keeping hope for the end product. But even so, the major problem is that it has absolutely no crust on it. But thankfully, there is a secret weapon to help us get a quick, crusty bark on this brisket. The rub is a bit complex, but in my opinion, very effective for achieving a nice bark very quickly. Since the brisket is technically finished cooking already, any additional time needed in setting the bark will actually slowly dry out the meat, which is why the rub ingredients are so very important. To a bowl, add smoked salt, brown sugar, chili powder, black pepper, mustard powder, and onion powder, and that's all you need for this rub. The brown sugar will caramelize during the cook, which will add to the browning effect the meat already experiences through the Maillard reaction. The salt here is completely optional, and if your palate does not like too much salt, I suggest you skip it altogether. During the brining phase, the brisket already absorbed plenty of salt from the brine mixture, so make sure you salt your rub to taste. For me, I went about 100 grams of smoked salt, which is a third of what the original recipe calls for. And as a reminder, full ingredients and measurements for all the steps of this recipe can be found in the description. Cover the brisket with a remainder of the glaze from earlier to act as a binder, and then cover the brisket pieces with the rub, making sure to cover both the sides and the corners. Now in ChefSteps' original video, they cooked their oven brisket at 260 degrees Fahrenheit for 3 to 4 hours to give the brisket a nice crust to finish the cook. But after cooking for 24 hours in the sous vide, another low and slow 4 hours seems excessive to me. And I could tell from the texture of their brisket when they were slicing it up for the taste test that it was a little dry, and I think it was because of that really long cook time. So to try to mitigate that dryness, I'm gonna cook this a little bit differently. And this alternative method can be found on the ChefSteps recipe guide, which I'll have linked in the description as well. So I set the oven to 300 degrees Fahrenheit and cooked the brisket on a wire rack for an hour. The wire rack will allow more air to circulate around the brisket while it cooks and keep it as far away from the juices at the bottom of the pan. This will hopefully get the bark to set even quicker. After an hour, I hiked up the temperature to 400 degrees Fahrenheit for about 10 minutes to let the bark finish and set. And after 2+ days, this brisket is finally done. So I am super impressed with the fat render on this brisket. It's nice, pillowy, soft, and even sticky. Reminds me a lot of an offset smoked brisket. It was much juicier than I thought it would be, but certain parts of the burnt ends did end up getting a little bit too dry. I also thought the curing salt was a great touch because it just gives it that smoke ring to make it look like this brisket was really smoked. And the bark, although it's really nice and even and super dark, the texture is kind of weird. It almost acts like a shell on this brisket, and it kind of flakes off and just kind of has a weird crystally texture to it. And I think it's because of the large amount of sugar that's in the rub. But before I do the taste test, I need to cover a few very important things. Because this is a very long and expensive process, I just want to make sure that if you do try this recipe at home, you don't end up making a disastrous mistake. So the first thing is to make sure that you let the brisket cool to about 140 to 150 degrees Fahrenheit before you slice it. Do not do an overnight rest with this brisket. Again, we cooked this for like over 24 hours. So if you rest it overnight, I guarantee the brisket will be so dry when you slice into it. The second thing I want to mention is you want to pick up one of these 12-quart containers when you brine this brisket. When I was brining this brisket, I tried to do it in a large foil pan, and on my way to the fridge, I spilled so much smoky beef water on my carpet that now I'm probably going to have to change it out. So be smart and use one of these containers or another container that's not too shallow. And the last thing I want to mention is absolutely check out the full recipe on ChefSteps website because they'll give you a full list of instructions so that you can keep track of everything. But do not use their measurements for the rub and the glaze. This was an 18-pound brisket, and at the end of this recipe, this is how much rub and glaze I have left. So I will have the updated amounts in the description box for your reference. Okay, and with all that covered, let's finally give this brisket a try. Okay, don't get me wrong here. It tastes really good, but it reminds me of that time when Gordon Ramsay went to Thailand to cook pad thai for a Thai chef.
This is not pad thai at all.
This is not pad thai.
The taste of this just simply isn't barbecue. The rub is just way too sweet, and the texture is weird because it kind of has like this hard candy texture, and it just completely masks all of that smoke flavor that we got from the liquid smoke. Seriously, the oven brisket recipe that I cooked like 2 weeks ago has more of a barbecue flavor than this one. But I still learned a ton from doing this ChefSteps brisket, and when I finally do release my indoor brisket recipe, I am definitely going to be using some of the techniques that they use. But the bottom line, especially if you don't have all of the equipment to make this like I didn't, then I do not recommend that you spend the money to do this brisket. If you already have a sous vide, then definitely give it a try and let me know what you think. But the oven brisket recipe that I did from That Dude Can Cook a couple weeks ago is much quicker to do, is way cheaper, and in my opinion, it tastes a lot better than this. And seriously, anybody can do that recipe because all you need is a kitchen oven and a brisket. So watch that video on your screen right now, and I'll see you guys over there.